Title: The Mouse, the Squirrel, and the Nutty Challenge. Once upon a time, in a big green forest, there lived a big mouse named Max. Max was not just any mouse. He was huge, fluffy, and had a belly that wobbled when he ran. One day, while searching for cheese crumbs near an old oak tree, he met the most beautiful creature he had ever seen, Sally the squirrel. Sally had the fluffiest tail, the cutest nose, and a giggle that made Max's big mouse heart melt. They started spending time together, running through the leaves, stealing nuts from the birds, and playing hide and seek with the rabbits. One day, Max finally built up the courage and asked Sally on a date. "Let's go to the moonlight berry patch for dinner," he said. Sally blushed and agreed. The date night. That night, Max dressed up in his best and only tiny red bow tie. Sally wore a shiny acorn hat. They met under the stars and shared a candlelit dinner of nuts, berries, and a very suspicious-looking piece of cheese that Max found near a picnic basket. Everything was perfect until, boom, Sally's mom appeared out of nowhere. "A mouse? With my daughter?" Mama Squirrel screeched, her tail puffing up like a dandelion in the wind. Max gulped. Hi, Mrs. Squirrel." Mama Squirrel squinted at Max. "You want to be with my daughter? Fine, but first, you must prove that you can provide for her." Max scratched his head. "How do I do that?" Mama Squirrel smirked. "You must fill an entire hole in the tree with food before winter. If you do that, I'll let you marry my daughter. If not, well, I hear the owls are hungry this time of year." Max's whiskers shook. He had no choice. Challenge accepted. Max worked day and night, collecting food from all over the forest. He begged nuts from chipmunks, borrowed berries from birds, and even found a secret cheese stash hidden by a sneaky raccoon. But no matter how much he collected, the hole never seemed to be full. Every morning, he'd wake up and find that half the food had mysteriously disappeared. Finally, one night, Max decided to spy on his food stash. He hid behind a bush and waited. At midnight, he saw a tiny thief. It was Sally's own little brother. "Hey, what are you doing?" Max squeaked. The little squirrel froze mid-bite, cheeks full of nuts. "Ah! Midnight snack?" Max groaned. "I'll never fill this hole at this rate." Sally's brother felt bad. Okay, I'll help you." He called all his squirrel friends, and together they gathered a mountain of food. The next morning, when Mama Squirrel saw the stuffed food hole, she gasped. You actually did it." Max wiped his sweaty whiskers. "Yep, Ken, I marry Sally now?" Mama Squirrel sighed. "Fine, but if I catch you eating all my nuts, I'll chase you out of this forest myself." Max and Sally cheered, and the whole forest celebrated their nutty wedding. The birds sang, the rabbits danced, and the raccoon, well, he tried to steal the wedding cake. And from that day on, Max and Sally lived happily ever after, with more food than they could ever eat and a very watchful mother-in-law. To watch more interesting stories, keep connected and subscribe our channel.